Roll call.
Trustee Dickinson.
Here.
Trustee Edmondson.
Present.
Trustee Donnelly. Trustee Jackson Miller.
Here.
Trustee Gray.
Present. Public comment for closed session items.
Nothing on email.
All right, we will convene to closed session, 5:32. All right, we are reconvening to open session, 6:30. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Go ahead and second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Report out of closed session. So we had an interdistrict appeal, case 2026-2704. The board has decided to uphold the district's denial. That was a 5-0 decision. And then on the evaluation of the superintendent, the board has determined that the superintendent's evaluation for 25-26 school year is positive. Okay, moving on to consent. There's actually one item that I would like to pull out. It is 4C to put into our action items for further discussion. So I'll make a
And then I have a question about 4J. The job description of the nurse.
So you want to pull that one out as well?
Yeah, because if I have a question, then we have to pull it, right?
Not necessarily.
No, not, yeah, you can do a clarifying question.
The clarifying question is in the contract, it talks about that what it sounds like is we can ask her to go to other districts.
For any of our providers, if a district, one of our neighbors needs help, and this is something that we have been doing already. We can, through the MOU process, provide services to another district. Oftentimes it's our one school districts in our county that, aren't able to have a full-time nurse.
Right.
And if our nurse has the capacity to do that and the time to do that, it's a benefit to the district. Because they pay for those services.
So they pay for
And that
them.
helps to kind of subsidize the cost of that position. And it helps those districts because they don't have to contract for a
Right.
whole FTE or a portion of an FTE that they're not going to use.
Right.
So we've been doing that for the last few years with Mountain and PCS primarily. It's been helpful to both districts.
Right. And then our nurse is 0.8, so she has the time for that.
Our nurse is 1.0.
Oh. Okay. And then is she okay with that extra time?
Yeah, it's always a decision that we make in partnership
Okay.
together.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarity.
And then I have a correction for 4F, the caretaker agreement.
Okay.
On page 48 of the docket, it is section number 1. It reads for the term of 1 year, it should be 6 months. Because we had switched that last year to 6 months.
That's right.
Okay. So then I will make the motion to adopt consent with the adjustment to 4F, making that 6 months, and pulling 4C to the action items.
No second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, moving on to recognitions. The recognition of the 25-26 Alice B. Woolsey Scholarship.
This is always one of the best times of the year, so we have Leslie with us tonight. It was a competitive group, and Leslie stood out for several reasons. I would say well-roundedness is one of them. Stellar grades. Was in our district since kindergarten, right? So Soquel Elementary all the way through, New Brighton all the way through, Soquel all the way through. And so I'm very proud of that. And yeah, she just really stood out. And in addition, correct me if I'm wrong, but you served as the student board representative, right?
Yeah, for Santa Cruz City Schools for the SoCal representative.
Oh,
Yeah, so you understand what they're going through.
Just a little bit smaller.
We borrow a room. So it's fine.
Well, it's just an honor to honor you and be a part of your journey going forward. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what your plans are? Yeah, sure, come on up.
All of our fans on YouTube.
We know you're comfortable with a board.
Okay,
so-
Hi, guys, well, I'll like, sorry.
No.
I'm gonna go to probably slow in the fall. I'm studying environmental management and protection, so my goal is to graduate in 3 years, cause, why not? And if not 4 is okay, but I want to be an environmental consultant, and then I plan on getting my master's at San Jose State. So I'll be the second one in my whole family to be doing that, and it's really exciting.
Well, we have a certificate of recognition for you, and then even more important. Check for you. Congratulations.
I'll put it on there.
Do you know who Loosely is?
I was reading a little bit, but not like super crazy things.
Taught in 1939, that's when she started, and the only school was Soquel.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she retired in 1984,
Wow.
and she was an outstanding teacher. Everybody loved her.
Your family made the commitment to have this ongoing
Right.
scholarship, so.
Yeah.
Little goes a long way, I feel. Well, you guys
Yeah.
take
Thank
me
you.
in supporting my education, and hopefully I'll come back one day. I'll be an environment consultant.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still keeping my own.
Yeah, I know, and you.
Yeah.
Leave me, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
Leslie, can we get a picture with you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can even, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be up.
Is your mom waiting for you somewhere?
Yeah.
We usually go in here.
We put you right in the middle.
Usually we have a little box of toys. Stuff about it.
Thanks, Leslie.
Congratulations.
Incredibly pleased.
So nice.
500, right? Yeah. 500. Every little bit helps, right?
Public comments. Is there any public comments in the room for any topics not on our agenda? Anything on email?
Nothing on-
We don't do email for things
Oh,
on.
good point.
Okay, moving on to standing reports.
Oh, for me, I'm just gonna bypass since we have LCAP and everything tonight.
Okay.
So hope everybody's having a great time.
And I will do this. Okay. Okay. And we don't have CSA or SCA. I'm assuming nothing on
No,
email.
no, they're enjoying their summer, well deserved.
Any updates from trustees?
Have a great summer.
Yeah. I have a small thing to update. I was able to join some teacher union members, and we advocated for Senator Laird to fully fund Prop 98, which is almost $1 million in our district. So I hope that I think that he's amenable to advocating for that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Nice.
Thank you. Ed, Amanda, I'm good. Nope. Yeah, I don't have anything to report either. Okay, let's move on to our first presentation on Main Street Elementary School nature murals.
Yes, then we have bombs here that will go ahead. and
There we go.
present.
Yeah.
My name's Amanda Knapp, and I'm entering my 3rd year with FOM's second year as co-chair, and this is my new co-chair, Jason.
Sure.
Yeah, he was our awesome volunteer coordinator last.
Yeah, co-volunteer coordinator.
Yeah, always love having dads. So what we're here to present is a proposal for 2 murals at Main Street by Brittany Costanza, who did the murals over at Soquel L. She's a local artist, grew up here. If you have time to dabble up.
Fancy. You can come up.
Yeah, come on up.
You project beautifully, but
Yeah.
yeah.
My husband says the same thing. You're so loud.
The microphone helps relate.
Okay, wait. How do you click that? Or that?
Just the right button. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. So, we make our budget every year, and part of our budget for last year was $15,000 for outdoor enrichment. The previous year, we had spent that on a garden teacher. It was much harder this year to find somebody willing to do that job. So we chose, I actually think the previous garden teacher, what was her name? You guys would know.
Was it the sisters, the two sisters?
Yeah, short hair.
Oh, no, Megan.
Yeah.
That's Megan.
She had started this chat with Brittany about the murals a few years ago and then passed the information on to Casey Redworth, who was our co-chair last year. So we thought, well, we have this money sitting here, we need to spend it, and so let's get these murals done. So the enrichment will be a curriculum that Brittany creates to go along with the murals. So this is just a small sample of what she'll offer. She'll offer TK through 5 curriculum.
Yeah.
So kids can just come out, look at the murals, talk about the blue heron. This one is going to be sitting between Miss Geist's class and Miss Galvan's class. That's almost like a little tiny kind of an amphitheater vibe there. So kids can like bring their chairs out. The teachers can do kind of more instruction there. And that one faces out to our garden. So if they want to spend some time in the garden afterwards, they can. So yeah, I think we're excited about this. I'm excited to employ a local artist who's obviously super talented and super kind. And I think we were waiting for this meeting to get her like on the books. So I'm kind of hoping we can get it done during the summer. Depends on how busy she is. Because it'd be nice to kind of do it without all the kids there. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, if you can check out our website, it'll show you all the stuff she's done around town, like her personal artwork. Watch it. So call it to a vote, people.
I think I heard emotion, but should I
Take
stop?
charge.
Any questions?
I have a question. The picture, did the artist design it?
Oh yeah, she did all of this.
And then
okay.
could you tell me about the blue line? What's that dynamic blue? that's
Well, it's
happening?
just to show the water level, so you can so.
Well, I see the water level, but behind the heron,
Oh,
I
you're
didn't know
talking
what
about
this.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Lightning.
I don't know. I think just like some artistic flair, maybe.
Flare.
I didn't really ask her. If you look at the SoCal L ones, there's like just some neat, like
Yeah, she did a
kind
really
of abstract
Yeah.
additions to her paintings, which
Yeah.
I love.
She did a great job on
What I am gonna ask for her to amend in the first one. I personally, and we're gonna talk about it at the meetings, would like it a little bit taller and kind of the rainbow and the water to flow over this way.
Mhm.
One of the issues we're running into is if it goes taller, she has to rent one of those.
Cherry pickers.
Scaffold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna try to do some outreach to maybe get it donated, get the lift donated. So she can go a little bit higher, because what she's offered right now is at our budget max, so. We'll put our feelers out there and see if anyone wants to donate.
I don't know that it made it into our presentation. Do you mind just saying her name again so I can look at her?
Brittany Costanza,
You said Brittany?
Brittany, Costanza.
And sorry if it is in there and I just.
Yeah.
Just went right back, but thank you.
Yeah, the SoCal L mural is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So fresh and kid friendly and interesting. And I'm just remembering that Main Street, all the 5th graders do those tiles.
Mhm.
It does, there's a little, I'm kind of curious, like, are we gonna ever run out of wall space? Where are we gonna put,
A lot of 5th grade classes.
Yeah. But this is the front of the school, so I mean, it kind of, this makes sense
Yeah.
to have this kind of a thing at the front of the school.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
We never really talked about the tiles.
Yeah, the 5th grade tiles, there's definitely, there's still a lot of wall space.
If you go to the opposite side of this building.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
That
more,
faces the blacktop, you have that much
right.
empty wall space.
Yeah.
Around,
Yeah.
so,
I think this is a great idea. It's just, it's something else we're gonna keep thinking about is
yeah, years go by.
the tiles, yeah.
Maybe I'll make the tiles smaller.
We get 2 by 2 stands.
Yeah.
So then, what I'm looking at here is what's gonna be on the wall. The diet, the fun facts.
No, so that will get like distributed to each class, so then.
Oh,
the
I see,
teachers-
okay.
Yeah,
Lesson plans based on grade level.
yeah,
Okay, I see. We have to write all, write all that down. It's like, okay. All
No,
right.
it's just a way to like help the teachers kind of make it easy for them to like give a lesson on. And it's, yeah, it was like a way to fit it into the outdoor enrichment line.
Really cool idea to expand it.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it feels a
If it's
little
in your-
stunted.
It's in the budget and it goes to the district.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask the district a question just around the timing of it with with the bond projects. I was wondering about like, is there gonna be dust kicked up over the summer or, you know?
That was one
Oh,
concern that we
yeah.
had, and we're gonna be looking into that more to see the areas and to see what's gonna be happening around that time
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
So the field, yeah, field's up here and there's the garden here and that one mural will be right here. So it's close-ish to it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should probably ask her how long it takes like paint to dry.
Yeah, that would be a good question, because we also have the amphitheater that's not on the field, but it sits kind of where that blacktop is. It's gonna be put.
Close to the
Yeah,
hill.
yeah.
Slope, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point. Just what, this is great. Thank you. And thanks for everything Bombs does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
y'all work so hard and
Thanks.
I'm always so impressed with the
Yeah.
amount, not money's everything, but
Yeah.
man, I'm impressed with the amount of funds you raise. I know that is no easy task. And then I would just say Allison is Assistant Superintendent of Business. She'll be your main point of contact
Mhm.
on anything moving forward, like you mentioned, the crane or the cherry picker. Like if you think that's getting to a time where that's, you know, getting close, just contact her so she can
Yeah.
make sure everything's kind of
Yeah.
clear.
Alright.
Yeah, so that way, no missteps or anything, and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
will be real clear. And
Okay.
and then with the construction this summer, just like if you think the artist is gonna be ready, just touch in with her and see if it's working in conjunction with the projects.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
So do we need any more, like if we decide to change that a little bit, do we need to send it back to you guys or?
No.
we're okay?
No, we just like the board to know what's gonna be happening, and it's not even an action item, it's more of an information item.
Okay.
And so I saw nothing but positive head shakes.
No, I say thank you guys for really doing FOMs and being a part of it, and
Yeah.
from one dad to another that was on FOMs. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I started at FOMs on Main Street and then went to Home School Club at New Brighton and then loved serving the school district and
Yeah.
ended up on the board, so.
A couple of parents have asked us to join the one here,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe give me a little time.
Where are your kids? Yeah,
Parent.
yeah. Where are your kids right now? Are they in the district? Are they at?
Third and fifth at Main Street.
Third and fifth?
And then I have a third at Main Street and then a seventh grader here and then.
Oh, so you do have
another-
dual duty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll have it next year. That's great, you guys. Please continue with it. We need great community and parental support. And you guys to start the whole thing, so thank
We
you.
have a wonderful board. I mean, it's really been revitalized, post-COVID, and it's been like exciting to be a part of and kind of get the community excited again for the stuff that is happening at the school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are also gonna leave someday.
Thank you for getting, putting it on the agenda.
Yeah, it's nice to know you won't
Yeah.
walk one day and we'll go, when did that get there?
Yeah.
When did that get there?
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have our discussion regarding the Board of Trustees self-evaluation.
Yeah, so my only lead into this is that we've used the same tool for that quantitative data from CSBA. And it's nice to have something, I mean, every tool has its limitations, but it's nice to have something that's consistent and that other school boards across the state are using. And then in the last few years, the board has added to that with a more qualitative piece. It's kind of reflecting with some open-ended questions. And so thank you, all the board responded to the CSBA part. And so there are lots and lots of colors of blue and green that we're going for. And then really appreciated that the board's kind of self-identified a few areas where it can continue to grow as a team. So with that, just see if there's any questions or if y'all just want to talk amongst yourselves.
Well, the one that blows me away is the board unity. The board is focused on achievement for all students. And
What number is that?
that's the very, 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 very first one.
Oh,
That is 81.
Page 81.
Yeah, and so I don't know, I don't remember how I scored this, but it would have been almost always, I'm not sure, less often, but I think the board does focus on the achievement for all students.
Yeah,
And I think that should be green. Maybe I just, who knows, did the wrong check mark or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just surprised it's not green.
I think one of the things with an instrument like this is the way different people
Mhm.
think through a question.
Mhm.
Because a person could, and one perspective would be, the board's focused on achievement for all students, but like, let's think about this last year and what we spent our time on at meetings. And so, I mean, I think a person could look at it and say, we had a lot of other things that we spent time on that took significant attention. And so maybe the wish of that person, I don't even know if it was me, because I don't recall, but I'm defending it anyway, no.
Because it sounds awful guilty. You sound guilty, right?
But I could see saying like, gosh, my hope is that we have growth in this area, because I'd like us to
Right.
spend more time being focused on student achievement, because last year we had a year where maybe we had a lot of intense things going on that weren't always connected to that. You're right, I
Yeah,
agree.
you're way
Sure.
into it.
I am. I mean, I think
yeah.
the idea that like, the way you answer a survey question comes through your own.
I see it, well, it says well, wait, it says, I'm sorry, yeah. All right,
But it should be green, I agree.
yeah. Either whatever's on the agenda, I mean, we are focused.
Yeah.
On the students in the district.
Mhm.
So I'm just surprised.
I
Fess up, whoever.
Check my.
I know.
yeah, I don't remember how I did any of these, but I do think, one of the things that stood out to me was in the board meeting section, right? So 29 and 30 are the like empty battery red. The board confines its meetings to a reasonable length of time, and there's a good relationship between how long the board spends on an agenda item and the importance of the item. And it sort of relates to the first open-ended question about, high functioning board should be accountability driven, spending less time on operational issues and more time focused on policies and priorities to close educational equity gaps. So I thought that was one piece that we could talk a little bit about. How do people feel we spend our time at our board meetings, and what are some of the things that we should be doing less of and things that we should be doing more of? Are there specific examples of things that people have felt that we have spent too much time on, relative to the importance of that item, for example?
Sometimes I think our board meetings could be unnecessarily stacked with agenda items. I see things that are mandated by a date for approval. But sometimes it's just something that could carry over to another board meeting. And I think a couple times we've had it where it's stacked and finally, so let's just do it. We'll move it to the next board meeting. And then also, sometimes I think we just get off subject too.
Yeah.
When we're discussing a topic and what can be done. How can I phrase this to say? Well, we're talking about an agenda item and then it goes off to the wayside. What can we do to do this and this and this? That tends not to do what the topic we're talking about. And so I think we need to stay on task with the agenda items, and then just call out. It's like, well, we're not discussing this. Say, because sometimes something could come up for a whole nother agenda item but it doesn't. It just kind of goes to the wayside. I don't say anything. I just sit here and start fuming. So I'm not gonna blow up, but it's just like, oh, come on. But and I look at it for the staff too, because I don't want them to be here all night. They go to work first thing in the morning. so they don't have the day off, after a board meeting. But I think just staying on task is, we need to really pay attention to that.
Yeah. I think you're a good barometer when we're going off task. So when you're, no, I'm
Why
serious.
not?
No, I'm serious. So instead of like just keeping it to yourself and like getting frustrated, like say something. Cause I think you have a good, like, oh yeah, we're veering off track now. Whereas the rest of us are like interested in what our brain is taking us. So.
No, I mean, yeah, you guys have great brains.
No,
No, that's,
it's,
but no, you got, I mean, four of you bring forward a lot of great ideas. You know, things that I would not even think of, which is great, but then it's not at the right time.
Mhm. Yeah.
You do too.
Well, I know, yeah, no, I know, I know I could go off, you know, on a whole nother.
I think she meant you bring good ideas.
Yeah,
too.
Oh, I thought you meant-
Yes, too. I mean, one thing that I've been really appreciative of is the constant kind of recognition, the idea of like, let's bring in recognition items. Let's be sure to capture when our
Mhm.
staff members have these accomplishments that we want to honor in our meetings. Like, that's something I always think of. And the fact that you've got the schedule and the ability to have the one-on-one times with our students, like that's really special. So lots of good ideas that come from Ted. I do think that one of the things in our governance, there's one of the things in our governance handbook somewhere is that I think it's more about the idea of asking questions ahead of time in a meeting, but it's the general idea of like what, need to know versus nice to know,
Yeah.
and I know I very much can talk a lot and wander into the weeds because like I'm curious and I really want to know more. But I think we all probably could do a better job on pulling a little of that back in meetings, especially if it's a meeting with a stacked agenda and we're looking ahead and thinking, do I want to be thinking about this intense action item at 9:30 or 10 at night? Do I want all of us to be making decisions when our brains already been going since 6 a.m.? So, and I think some of it is right, thinking like, oh, can I jot that down and ask the superintendent later in an email? Does it have to be discussed right here? Right now. I mean, it's a good problem to have. We're engaged. That's great.
Yeah.
But taking it back to that open-ended question about, high functioning, being accountability driven and spending less time on operational issues and more time focused on our policies and priorities. Like sometimes we have to, cut something or rearrange the way we do it to keep our focus.
And there's sometimes I think too, we're a passionate bunch. We're not here for the pay. You know what I mean? We're all passionate about subjects, and there's a lot of times too when, we'll ask questions to learn, and that's an important part for me too, because I do feel like I learn a lot, when you guys are talking and I might ask questions or because I'm curious or because I don't know. But also I do agree with you a little bit, Ted, because I feel like there are some times when, like, I feel like the need to speak, not because just because there's somebody there and I feel like I'm a board member, and like it's my job to be engaged. It's my job to ask a question, or it's my job to, so there are times when I'll talk when I shouldn't talk, when I should, I could easily just email Scott or do whatever, but I feel like it's my job on the board to, play something out or something like that, and represent the, our constituents. But I can certainly do a better job at that too, so.
No, I know what you're saying. And usually, I mean, how can I say it? It's because you care.
Yeah.
And not just want to listen to yourself, talk, is that you actually care. And then some, and sometimes it just takes us elsewhere.
yeah, I think also with the agendas, I mean, Amanda and I meet with Scott and we do our best to try and look at, is this too full? Can we spread things out? So I think we can continue to do that. Sometimes it is, really out of our control because there are things that have to get done based on deadlines. But I think if we all keep in mind that, we kind of think about, is this a need to know versus a nice to know? And we all kind of contribute to that. But remember last year we had some phrase like because we kind of talked about this a little last year. It's like we started to go astray, we're gonna
Going into the weeds.
going into the weeds or something. I think we just keep that
Yeah.
as in our, you know, and focus on that, aware of that, and spend the right amount of time.
Something I would personally benefit from is, just to pull back and ask, like, well, how do we, become more functioning with this accountability? Like, for example, when you look at the LCAP, like, there's so many pages in the LCAP. Like, even having a question of like, you know, as a board, what are we responsible for with this document? Like, how can I be accountable in my role as a board member when I look at the LCAP? How can I be responsible or accountable when I look at the SIPs, the school plans, right? Like, we look at 100-page documents. So I can sometimes get nitty-gritty, but like, what is the big picture in our role as a board member? That would be helpful for me, because so many things are thrown at us, you know, the budget, this, just all these huge documents. So, you know, to know like what is our role in this agenda item.
Are you thinking about something like that would be with each agenda item, like in the memo that would articulate that? Or
I mean, that would be amazing.
Or are you-
I mean, I'm not trying to create extra work or something, but maybe is there more something generic that we might learn about as with some of these big documents? Just to be more effective. I mean, I don't.
I wonder if CSBA has any kind of offering, almost like a little mini MIG or something, like if the board had the appetite for a governance workshop, where we, you know, where we could kind of look at like, what are the 3 or whatever big
Right.
picture, high, you know, 30,000 foot
Yes.
things a responsible, accountable board member
Right.
is
Might-
looking at when
Yes.
thinking about the LCAP, when thinking about curriculum adoption,
Totally.
budget, like
Yeah.
even being on board for however many years, like you need to rethink it in the
Right.
current climate. So I mean, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that we need
And
to have like put
there's
for us on a memo, but I think like if we do the work kind of together,
Right.
like, hey, here's our.
Yeah, that for me would really help me focus, know what to look at. And we do look at the same documents each year. So it's really only like 4 huge documents to really know like, what is our goal here? And then look at that document and then, like the question says, aim it towards our priorities. Because we have district priorities that we could really, you know, put more focus on.
Yeah.
If we had a better lens on those big documents.
I really like that idea.
In one part that will continue is to do the LCAP bites. So that's something that our district does that is not typical for some of that very reason, right? Is to not
Right.
let it just be a 200-page document that you see once a year,
Right,
but rather, you know, pulling out some of those actions and
Yeah.
talking about them along the way.
right.
And yeah, so we'll continue to do that, and we'll work to find you know, the lens that you're looking at is what is my responsibility with this document.
Right.
And we can always dig in deeper to that. You know, as a first cut, I would just say, you know, it's always the proverbial 30,000 foot view. Like, what are the 4 goals? How is the district planning to implement them? And do you think I, as the superintendent, are leading the district towards those 4 goals, right? So that's the big picture from a governance standpoint rather than an operations standpoint. And I guess the other thing I would just say is, because I feel your conscientiousness, there's no way that somebody who does this 2 nights a week can understand each of those documents at the level that the experts do, right? So the budget at the level that the chief business official does. So just really trying to, I think the idea of like, what is my governance role with each document versus what do I have to either trust the operations team to do, or I have questions whether the operations team is doing it right. So we can continue. I'll try to make that a focal point in the LCAP bites. It's like, what is your responsibility? What should you be looking for?
Yeah. interesting, because I was, going through LCAP and I think of that, it's like, okay. What am I supposed to be reading as a board member?
Right.
Not, okay, the school was built, the climate's beautiful, whatever,
Yeah.
we all know that, but what I need to know as a board member,
Mhm.
a bridge version.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what you're kind of getting
Yeah.
at, yeah.
The LCAP is a good example because the LCAP is something that you spend months working on, right? So by the time it comes to
Oh, yeah.
us, it's not that we can make wholesale changes, right?
No.
So it's a little bit of an awkward, like, what exactly you're saying? What is my role here? Because it's not like I can go in and say, all of this should be different. So, but how do you balance that? Months of work that gets done, we see it, in one meeting.
Mhm.
And how do we, like, what is our responsibility in that meeting when we're approving the LCAP?
Right.
I think it's a really good
Lots of
point.
bites.
It can't wait
You
until
know.
that meeting, right? And so that's why it has to be regularly discussed. Parts of it as we go, right? So because just like every other group that we ask parents for their input on the LCAP along the way. We ask students for their input. We ask staff for their input. We want your input along the way so that as we're building, and next year is a good example too, because it's the launch of a 3-year plan. We're at the tail end of a 3-year plan coming up for 26, 27. So that's why we have those LCAP bites and always taking that into consideration, the discussion that happens here at the dais.
That's how I look at it. I review the bites and try to ask questions, and then at the end, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We're good. I feel like we're covering everything kind of as we go along.
This is a great point too, that there's times where things are being built and we're seeing it being built. And then there's times where it's like a final draft and it's just an approval moment. But number 2, this question about being data savvy, that is something that you guys do well, and I think can always be improved on, like the data connection to like what we're voting on or what we're talking about. Like, for example, that we're in this new cycle or we're ending a cycle of the LCAP. We're beginning a new cycle of the LCAP.
27, 28. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So we tried things out in this last cycle, how to go kind of things. Like, I love when you guys say, this is what we tried and this is how it went. And then also this idea too of explaining to us of like, we're going to try this other thing, or we liked this so much, we're going to keep up with this. Those kinds of comparisons are really helpful. In being data savvy with the board and what we hear and see.
Duly noted.
Are there other things that stood out to you on the survey that anyone would like to raise or comment on?
Surveys.
I mean, the CSBA tool.
I think number 55 isn't quite a fair assessment, but that's okay. That's the one where, we provide community leadership on educational issues. Maybe it's the terminology there, but I do think that most of us have been engaging in advocacy, specifically around budget issues. But I think a lot of us have been reaching out to our legislators and have been doing the, CSBA action alerts and, having conversations with folks in the community about educational abuse. So I think maybe some of us are harsh on ourselves.
So that's me.
That's
me.
Well, but there were three of us.
Because you guys are, you guys are going at it, which is great.
Three of us said let's
And so I think of myself, it's like, okay, well, what is that? Well, not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I probably have rarely.
Three
Maybe.
people said less often, one said not sure. I mean, again, we're just give yourselves credit, folks. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I probably read that question and perceived of it as something more specific and different from what I engage in. But I definitely see your perspective, that it can be broader and include things that we do.
I think what's really, not every board, thing is a little bit of this, and the whole governance team, all of us here at the table, by the way, but that we are in the green battery on how well we work together. I think that it's not a board's job to agree on everything all of the time, and we navigate the issues where we don't always all have the same opinion. We do that just as respectfully as we do disagreements. We are in full agreement.
Yeah.
And I think we do a good job. I don't know if it's on here, but I think we do a really nice job, being incredibly respectful of our community and very grateful for folks who come and participate and that to us. And
Yeah.
I always wonder if, think that we should do this as a whole. Sit here and discuss, okay, the board is focused on achievement for all students. I mean, that would be that'd be a long meeting, but just,
Aren't you the one for shorter meetings?
yeah. Oh, we could do 3 a meeting then, but it's like, because it's asking us as a board as a whole. And then I think of myself too. So, I mean, is that what we're supposed to do? Is like, am I focused on achievement for all students or the board?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I thought it was really encouraging, to be real honest. I thought there were questions about how the board respects each other and understand each other's perspectives, and I don't remember which questions they were, but I felt like looking at some of the, we all do, I mean, we all come from different backgrounds and have some different beliefs, and yet we all come together for what's best for the kids. We all respect each other's viewpoints. I think there's a lot of listening that's done in this board.
What about the third open-ended question? Anything else you feel is important to share about our current level of performance? How are we doing? And I had wanted, to include you in this discussion. So if you have anything you wanted to add or comment on, please.
I appreciate the opportunity, but upon reflection, I feel like this is really your tool
Okay.
to self-reflect, but I
Okay.
really appreciate the offer.
Okay. I think the one thing on this last one, I think we just talked like we are very respectful and open and hearing the difference of opinions. I think that on some of the difficult topics that we've had this year, I could have benefited from hearing from more of the board in some of our discussions and asking questions and better understanding where someone is coming from or what they're thinking about. There were some times when I wasn't sure how someone was going to vote because I might not have heard them weigh in on something. So I think I would ask, especially for the difficult conversations, it's helpful to hear from everyone in the conversation. And maybe it's scary to speak up if you think differently than what everyone else is saying, but I think that's actually when it is really important to hear, just to understand and have the chance to hear that perspective or question or comment. So that's my comment.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Me personally, sometimes you guys are discussing a topic and I already, sometimes I have my mind already made up just from the facts that are given and you, and everybody here is talking about the agenda item. So sometimes I just am quiet because I'm listening to others, and I may not change my mind. I may change my mind too. So, because I when I read the agenda and this and that, I mean, it's, you're supposed to come into a meeting open-minded, okay, one opinion or whatever, but nah, who does that? You walk in, it's like, I'm gonna vote yes for this. Yeah, and then but then I listen to everybody else bring up, great facts and then it's like, okay, well, that makes sense. So maybe I should vote for da. So I think it's basically that everybody said everything. Me personally, I just don't want to repeat or how can I put it? Not repeat myself, but just not. I can't find the word, maybe just be repetitive. Because I know I'm always the quiet one too.
Yeah, and I don't think that people need to speak just to speak. I think especially with the more difficult conversations, it's helpful to get a sense of where people are thinking. So it doesn't even have to be a long comment. It could just be someone says something and you can say, yeah, I agree with that. Just so that we kind of have a sense of what people are thinking.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Yeah. okay.
See what you did
Touche.
there. Actually, I
Okay,
don't agree, and here's why.
Hold on, let me listen.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that we feel is important to raise in our self-evaluation?
Well, I really like that we, obviously sounds like we want to continue our growth as a governance team and as individual board members. And it does sound like, at least where we are now, none of us are going to be able to attend the CSDA AEC. And so maybe as a team, we can kind of loosely commit to something together, whether we, just some kind of continued professional growth opportunity, whether it's a special meeting or something. Nothing we have to decide on right now, of course, but it seems like we have an appetite for it, that's all.
There's a public viewing for the World Cup tomorrow night. With that there. Okay.
Yeah, I love that idea,
Mhm.
especially since we're not going to CSBA. Just that opportunity we've talked about, yeah, this idea about kind of what's important in these big documents, district priorities, and then also just team building stuff like we've talked about before.
All right. Great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
All right. Let's move on to our action items. And the 24-25 bond performance audit and annual citizens bond oversight committee report. So just a quick introduction. Tonight we have, you can go ahead and come up. Tonight we have Tran Nan,
Yes.
who is our CBOC president, who will be presenting the annual audit of the bond funds, as well as the annual expenditure report. As part of the bond process, we are required by law to also have the bond funds have a separate independent audit, which was done by Siobhan and Associates, and Chad will go ahead and go over that.
Yes, so thank you for having me today, and I appreciate your time. The Citizens Bond Oversight Committee of the SoCal Union Elementary School District was formed for Measure P, which was approved by SoCal voters on November 5th, 2024, for the purpose of actively reviewing and reporting on the district's expenditures of Measure P bond proceeds. The CBLC has met regularly since April of 2025. And in accordance with state law, the CBLC is required to advise the public through at least one report per year, which shall be made available on the district's website as to whether the district is in compliance with Article 13A of the California Constitution, Measure P, and provisions of the California Educational Code Section 15278. We've had 4 meetings for the fiscal year 24-25. The meeting dates were April 24, 2025, October 27, March 13 of this year, and May 18 of this year as well. All meetings were done virtually via Zoom. Each CBOC meeting was held in compliance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, including being formally scheduled with meeting agendas duly posted and noticed. All CBOC meetings are open to the public, and a link to the meetings was posted on the district's website. Minutes of each meeting was taken, and following approval of the subsequent meetings were posted on the Measure P webpage. Okay, and so as far as the review of the district expenditures and audits, the CBOC was provided with expenditure reports prepared by the district at each of its meetings. And in each meeting, the CBOC reviewed the expenditure reports. Members of the CBOC had the opportunity to ask personnel questions regarding the projects and expenditures. In May of this year, the district provided the CBOC with copies of the audit provided by Siobhan and Associates. And the committee reviewed them and noted that there were no negative findings. All of the district's financial records were properly approved and no documents were missing. The audits were made available on the website of the district following the CBOC meeting in May. And so based on the foregoing review of the expenditures and other activities, the CBOC concludes that Measure P bond proceeds were spent, the Measure P bond proceeds spent to date have been only allocated for or spent for the construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation, or replacement of school facilities, including furnishings and equipping of school facilities or acquisitions of or lease of real property for school facilities as identified by the project list of the bond. And as a result, the district has complied with Article 13A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution, the text of Measure V.
Oops.
Measure P, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was following.
Oh, sorry,
No, it's
I
No,
apologize.
whoops.
yeah, it's
so-
not you, it's yeah.
And California Education Code 15-278. And it was approved on May 18th. So I just want to say, working with Brett, he's been very forthcoming about questions that we've had as a committee. So I feel very confident, with the district, going forward and how the money was spent. Thank you.
We appreciate your time
Yeah.
donated. to the
Yeah.
committee.
Thank you.
Really.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay.
Yeah.
Use that,
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Special pen.
Special pen.
Invisible ink.
Is it Nagan?
No, yes.
None, sorry about that, none. I see you're a business representative.
Yes.
Do you have a local business or?
Oh, no, I work at a local nonprofit,
Oh, nice.
Community Bridges.
Oh,
In
yeah.
Watson Hills. I'm the fiscal analyst down there.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, you're very well suited.
Thank you.
Look at our.
Thank
look
you.
at our
Yeah,
audit.
thank you. Yeah, it's a big project, so I'm glad to be on board to help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Is Brett also here for the last action item, or was that? Oh, I just wanted to move it up if you were here for
Very
that.
nice of you, thank you. There's no presentation or anything. If you have any questions about it, I'm here, so.
Can we move it up? Do I need to do anything to move it up?
Just as long as we get it in the minutes, yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we just move up 9H and then
Have to remember what that is.
9H is the,
On more.
Oh, yeah.
The laboratory of records.
Oh, wow, yeah, you go way back.
So,
so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
you good with the minutes, yeah.
Yeah, but we need to actually. approve
Oh,
the
yeah,
first-
oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, thank you.
The last one, the CBOC.
Thanks. It just sort of like, you just left, so I was like, okay, we're done. Okay, is there an action item to approve the 24-25 bond performance audit and annual citizens bond oversight committee report?
I'll make the motion to approve the report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Okay, and now we're gonna move
There we
to
go.
the agreement for the Laboratory of Record Services.
Page 383, folks.
And I will let Brett take it away since he's here.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for moving up. I'm actually, my wife is either gonna be happy or angry at you. I'm supposed to have dinner with her, so depending on whether she's angry at me or not. So.
Where are you taking her?
That,
Where are you taking her?
I think I'm gonna go to,
Hideout.
Hideout, yeah. Thank you.
Good choice.
Yeah.
She'll be happy.
Yeah, okay. All right, this is actually one of the last things that we need to do for the 3 elementary school site and field improvement projects. This is what's called the laboratory of record. And so you are required to conduct various testing and inspections for construction integrity. That would be like on concrete, welding, electrical work, soil compaction, and such. It's required by state law. Nino and Moore put in their proposal. We sought various proposals from firms. They came in the lowest costs. We have a history of working with them, and they're a good firm.
Great. Love that we've worked with them and that they're the lowest cost. Any questions? Great, is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for Laboratory of Record Services with Nino and Moore for site improvements at SoCal Elementary, Main Street Elementary, and Santa Cruz Gardens Elementary.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great.
So thank you very much. If you have, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you again. Very kind of you. If you have a chance to go by any of the 3 elementary schools, construction has started and we're excited and about it. So good news, construction has started. Bad news, construction.
Yeah.
So
That amphitheater at the gardens, I walk my dog every night and when I'm home. But yeah, amphitheaters.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
So good stuff. All right. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thanks.
Thank you. Kent had an aerial view of Main Street of all the trucks lined up.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the field that were picking up just the dirt to move it out.
Oh,
It was amazing just watching the progress.
If you're from New Brighton.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah.
all right, moving on to the LCAP.
Okay, so at the last board meeting, provided the board with a presentation on the LCAP. And it has also been on our website. That same draft has been on our website since then. So that if there were any further input from the public, that would be heard. But of course, as we discussed a little bit for a different item, the real goal there is that throughout the year, we're getting input and building it so that when you bring it in June, it's already got the ingredients baked for the most part. And so we're feeling good about this LCAP in terms of looking at what worked, what didn't work, and how we can do better. So all of that said, recommend that the board approve our LCAP.
And this is the same document we looked at
Yep.
2 weeks ago.
Yep,
That was the
changes.
preview that we had, and this
Yep,
is the. Yeah.
That's right.
And are there any comment, public comment?
Question? No.
Any questions or comments on this document? I don't have anything different from the conversation we had last time.
I think it's a good plan. I appreciate the clarity and I'm excited to see what happens in our next cycle.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second that. Right, are we ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2026 SoCal Union Elementary School District Local Control and Accountability Plan.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
The next one's the California School Dashboard Local Indicator Reflection, and if you're having deja vu, it's because it was on the last board docket, and I'll take ownership of that. The cadence that it was called, which is a great word for it, that we've used in previous years, just needed to be tweaked. From this point forward, this item will come at the second board meeting in June when the LCAP is approved, not just presented to. And so even though it is redundant, for the sake of full compliance, I'm asking that the board take action on it again tonight.
Any questions on this the self-reflection tool? Any new thoughts or questions from the last time we reviewed? If not, are we ready for a motion?
You guys ready? This is, I mean, it's exactly the same as
It's
we
exactly
approved.
the same.
We
yes.
approved it last time. We need to get the
Mhm.
order of operations right and do it
Yes.
after approving the LCAT.
That's well said.
Got it. Then, if you guys are okay with it, I'm happy to
Yeah.
make a motion.
Yeah.
I will second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Moving on to the final proposed budget for 26-27.
So nothing has changed on the budget. I did go ahead and update the MYP based on the request that's on page 259. I didn't drop the numbers of the estimated increases from the June 10th approval board meeting. I kind of had to embed them in because it wasn't working properly when I dropped them in at the bottom because
Okay.
we needed to account for the step in column and all that other fun stuff. So I embedded them within the classifications that they.
So this is, what's on 259 is for our benefit. It's not what you're submitting per se, or it is what you're submitting?
This is for our benefit. as
Okay,
of right
okay,
now. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that.
No, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
Yeah.
I will say the reserve numbers look good to me.
Yeah, and that's in part to analyzing what property taxes were looking like at the time of creating the budget. I was waiting until the very last minute, putting those final numbers in when I was creating the budget, and sure enough, they came in. So I wanted to make sure I utilize those numbers.
And by looking good, I mean, it's frugal, but not like white knuckling. Like, you know, it's
Exactly,
it's like
yes,
a good, it's
yes.
kind of a,
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems like a
Yeah.
sweet spot.
And would you point to those numbers just so I can follow along? with
So
the
if you're on,
process?
if you're on 259, since the approved salary increases went across certificated management, classified management, and the classified unit, the would be slight increases for certificated and classified salaries towards the top in the green sections. And then as well as in the benefits area. So that green section, but then it's gonna follow through the blue-green section and the blue section, because it's got to carry over year to year and then account for the 1.5% estimated increase due to step and column for each year.
And then the reserve percent that we're talking about?
The very bottom. So you'll see the without assigned and with assigned, the percentages down there.
So the 27, 28 projected were
Mhm.
8.9 without the assigned were 7.32.
Yeah. Mhm.
With assigned.
And again, once everything fully hits and we look at first interim, that we see the true numbers, how they shake out, is when we'll be able to get another clear picture. So the school finance is forever changing.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll see a different number than today. Yeah, so it's forever changing.
All right, I appreciate you asking for this, so that, at the last meeting, and Allison, thank you very much for adding on to everything else and being able to get that for us. It is, I honestly feel like looking at this, I can like relax my shoulders a lot.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have this meeting and then we have another meeting in the middle of August, like it's nice to,
Yeah.
and I won't like totally hold you to every step. But
Thank you.
but this is,
Yeah.
this does, yeah, I like the way you describe it, like, it's not white knuckling it. It's,
Yeah.
And it's current, we're not looking at 4.5%,
Yeah.
all those things we're scared about, I mean, it's still, I don't think we're where we want to be, but I think considering what we were able to do for the staff this year, I think we're in a much better position than I had projected us to be in.
Yeah, and in large part, it was due to what came in with the property tax up until this point of the budget. So I'm hopeful to see once June 30th hits the balance when they shore up. So that'll be extremely
it is
helpful.
so hard how
unpredictable it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I agreed.
I mean, I know I'm not even saying it as as big as you must feel it, but.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Oh, it's
You just,
extremely
you know,
stressful
and-
though. Yeah.
yeah.
So I,
and you have to make projections based on a really tight kind of conservative approach, because if you don't.
yeah,
And if you know, make assumptions that we're gonna have the property taxes, you know, rise at some exponential rate that you can't guarantee, then
Yeah.
we're really in a bad spot, so
absolutely.
it's really delicate.
Yes.
Just like the 250,000 for math textbooks, like every
Well, because it's got to carry over and kind of like
Yeah.
reduce. Yeah. Yeah. And that's us, you know, having to call and ask for a discount because they're coming in a little higher. So yeah. So making sure that we're always doing that. And that's one thing that we're really good at. And, you know, Pam is one that's her expertise, at talking people down. So that's amazing.
Is it motion time?
I think it's motion time. You like to make the motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 final proposed budget for the SoCal Union Elementary School District.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, Prop 28 Arts and Music in Schools funding.
Okay, so this is an annual report and this funding has been around for about 3 years now. So what this tells us is the 2.2 FTE, that's the total number of FTE that we have charged to the arts and music program. And that's the Prop 28, that's a very restrictive funding. And then we go on to show the number of students that are served, the 1450, and then the number of sites is 4. So all 4 of our sites, we do have Prop 28 teacher in some form.
It's 357.
Would you remind us what arts the kids are getting at with the different sites?
Yeah, so it varies. So there's the music program at SoCal is music. They have
And art.
art, and then at the gardens, art, and this is for 25-26, mind you. Art, and then garden, I believe, was part of that.
I think most of theirs is focused on art and then,
A little, yeah.
yeah, other funding and home and school club donation contributes to the garden.
Yeah, and then for Main Street, it was art, and then for New Brighton, it was music.
Main Street
Yeah.
was music, just, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
that's
no,
right.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That,
Did
I'm
Fawn
impressed.
art?
Yes. What's that?
Wait, no art. Wait, Main Street had art, but it was maybe different.
Yeah,
It wasn't,
yes,
it wasn't through.
It was
It was home
different
school club.
home school club. Yeah, that's why I got them confused. Sorry.
And then New Brighton is music appreciation. It's not,
It was the band.
Yeah.
oh, it was band.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Santa Cruz, who
Mm.
unfortunately has moved on, but.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Thanks.
hmm Yeah, sorry, I got him a little flip.
Did really good.
Yeah.
I was ready to take that one. No.
Oh, darn it. I'm gonna
Business
pause.
had it.
You know what? I'm
Love
gonna
it.
pause next time.
And then when do we hear for next year? Because you're saying this is for last year, right?
So this is just the annual report. So we have estimates that come in. So we're estimated to receive about the same. It's roughly about 250,000, give or take. And it's very specific per school, which is interesting. So we kind of have to work within those restraints of how much is assigned per each school.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, from the state. So
And then we're deciding right now what arts the schools are gonna get.
that's already been decided.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah. So because we have to do that planning well before July 1st. So yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions?
I just an appreciation that of all the reports you guys have to do, this is like 2 pages.
Yes, wish they were all like that.
Whoever's listening.
But you will be surprised because sometimes this one wasn't bad, but sometimes these reports that have like 3 questions, it's like, oh, that'll be quick. And then I get into it, I'm like, oh, wait a second, hold on.
Well,
Some of them are tricky.
yes. Thank you. Oh, good.
All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve Proposition 20 Arts and Music in School Funding Annual Report for 25-26.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the CKC facilities.
A little bit of context. This is not directly connected to ELOP. So a few board meetings ago, the board approved contract with CKC, I'm sorry, to execute our ELOP program next year. And we've already had a resounding response to that. Families have really taken the opportunity to have free childcare, essentially, which is, such an important thing. And so separate from that, now we're talking facilities with CKC. So I won't go super in depth with time in mind, but just a little bit of history. CKC's worked with us for a long time now, a trusted partner, and they're on all 3 of our elementary sites, plus the Opal Cliffs facility. We had facility use agreement that's been expired. So we've been working on an expired contract, which is fine, but it needed to be refreshed and rebooted. And then I guess the other thing I would say here is everything that's been done here, I can honestly tell you, was done in conjunction with CKC. And I say CKC, it's Jill and Heidi. Heidi's the executive director, Jill's their version of a CBO. And so none of this was dropped on them as a surprise. It was communicated with either in-person meetings or virtual meetings. And I say that because if you looked at this without that context and on the surface, if you remember the previous facilities use agreement, well, I bet I've said it enough times, you all know it. How much did we used to charge them for a year? $1. Right? I don't think we collected that $1. And that's I'm only saying that tongue in cheek. And it's not CKC's fault. I think in those kind of things, there's usually not.
Lots more to cash.
Yes, thank you. And so, times change and but we still value the partnership. And also we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for our district in terms of facilities use. You've seen separately increased facilities fees being collected thanks to the great field that we have out there. And so while that money can't be directly spent on some of the items we've talked about this year, like salaries and such, anything that helps offset costs is good overall for the district. And so with that in mind, we proposed to CKC that we would like to charge a rate that may seem exorbitant in relation from going from $1 to $1,500 for a facility for a building, but is not exorbitant in the going rates of what other districts are charging them. And so with that in mind, the best page that I can summarize for you is if you go to page 379 with the visuals of each site. I think that's the most concise way to kind of walk through what we'll have going forward. Most of this is carryover from what we have now, but I'll point out places where there's differences. So for Main Street, the facilities don't change. You see that they have, whenever you see a red arrow, you see the little legend. That's a building that all we've done is provide them the space. It's their building. And so we're not proposing to charge them anything for that. It's a mutual benefit to be able to have our students have childcare. It's their building. And both of those portables that they have there are, they're existing now, no changes. And we don't, because Main Street's unduplicated count is not as high as our other sites, we're not anticipating a need for a third room. And so that's the thinking there. And then of course the portable more up front is ours. And so we're charging them $1,500 in this agreement. If you move over to Santa Cruz Gardens, I'm sorry, over to Soquel, I'll go to the right and go to Soquel. All of the buildings are ours. And so those two portables that exist over on the side of the parking lot they've been pre-existing. That's what they've been using. And so we're proposing $1,500 each for them. And then because Soquel has our highest unduplicated rate, we're offering free childcare to those families. We anticipate a need for a third room. And so working with the principal, working with CKC, we've identified, and with our facilities team, we've identified room 105. It's often referred to as the garden room over at Soquel because it's right next to the garden. But it's really been kind of a luxury for storage for some things related to the garden, but we can find other spaces for those items. And that was identified as the best extra room to lease them. I'll drop down now to the gardens. At the very bottom, a few years ago, they built that modular classroom. So that's probably not their nicest facility that they have. Some of the portables are not in nearly as good condition. That modular building up front is in really good condition. So that's their building. They paid to have it built. And so we're not going to charge them. We're not proposing to charge them for that. Out back, kind of on the other extreme, is a portable that has seen its better days. But just as a little FYI, CKC is planning to put some money into the roof on that building so that it's in as good a shape as possible. And then also because we anticipate increased after-school usage, given that we're offering that at no cost to unduplicated families. Carlo, the principal, and CKC and our facilities team has worked to identify room 43 as a room where right now it's the intervention staff, but Carlo is able to find them another place to work, and it just worked out well that room 43 is close to their portable out back. And so that room was identified, and of course that's our room. And so we would charge them $1,500 for that under this plan. And then moving to the bottom left, there's Opal Cliffs, and really no changes here. Right now, they use the front two buildings. The front building includes that breezeway that has like some office space built in. The only change is that we would now propose to charge them $1,500 each for those buildings. And so overall, the total, if you take all the buildings highlighted with the green arrow, I think it was at 10,500. It's in the memo how much it is. And then in addition, utilities. So we haven't really charged them utilities. Obviously, utilities cost and draw from our budget. And so for the three elementary sites, Soquel, Main Street, and Santa Cruz Gardens, we proposed to them $3,000 per site, which, obviously probably doesn't have the precision that it could, but kind of to the point about collecting the dollar, if we could go through every PG&E bill and, with the limited staff and business and say it's this much this month, we estimated, and so that those work hours don't have to be contributed. It would end up costing us more in work hours rather than charging them the flat rate. And that seemed amenable to both parties. And then for Opal Cliffs, same thing, $1,500. I'm sorry. I think it was 6,000. It just slipped out of my mind. I think it was 6,000 because they're basically have the whole facility. And so we do plan to use those back two buildings. We'll talk about that more. Our design team heard a little bit about that today. But we're not going to be there in any way that will impact utilities cost. And so overall, I think it's $25,500 that this, if approved, that are per year that CKC would pay. I think it's a great partnership, right? Like in the grand scheme of things for their business, I think that's a really fair price. And from our perspective, it provides our families with a really meaningful service. And so I think it's mutually beneficial. We wanted to make it for 5 years, so that way CKC could have that confidence that their programs can remain in place for that long. After the 5 years, it can be renewed annually by mutual consent. And so we think the 5-year plan, having a nice facilities use agreement that is up to date and reflects the current reality. Doesn't overcharge, but also honors the fact that we have some really nice facilities that their organization is benefiting from and charging an appropriate price. That's the summary of what we're asking you to approve tonight. Yeah.
When I was reading through it, I saw it was for 5 years. I was curious with the increase in costs. I don't have a problem with the rent, you know, for a couple of buildings and things like that, the modular places, but I mean, utilities keep going up and up and up, PG&E and everything else.
Yeah.
I was curious if it ever came up to maybe tap in another 3% every year or after 2 years or something like that, just to keep us cost of living with the way utilities are going. So we're not sucking up that extra money. I mean, we're already tight.
Yeah, and there is language to go back and re-explore some of those kind of items for both parties. And so yeah, we could, I mean, I guess it would take an analysis. If we saw a big jump in utility costs, then I think we would ask to go back, you know, to discuss that. We tried to find a flat rate. And it doesn't bake in for 5 years, but it's kind of like, okay, would this at least offset enough, especially when you consider for the last decades, we haven't been collecting anything now. So, but yeah, your point's well taken. If we see a big steep hike, then we can go back and discuss that.
Yeah, and kudos for you guys for, I mean, we all talked about looking under every rock and stone and, you know, kudos to you guys for finding a little gem, you know, that we can actually stay current. I'm not saying make money, but just be current, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. Thank you, Robert. And I would say equally kudos to CKC for being willing partners in that discussion.
Their prices just doubled.
That ELOP contract's also helping out too. So, you know, it was $1 million contract if I remember it.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that puts it into perspective. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 3% every year for you.
I thought you were gonna say 6.
Robert, it's up to 4%, no more than twice during the term. Can't help myself.
Thank you.
I've been looking at leases and other things, so yeah, so we have options, but no, this is a great way to continue the partnership. In a way that benefits everyone, gives them the security of the 5 years. Gives us the income that we need to maintain our facilities.
Good deal.
Any other questions, comments? We're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the facilities use agreement with Campus Kids Connection.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Yes, on the next one.
Oh my God. All right, to consider accepting donations from the public and parent groups.
Yes, so from February 1st, 2026, we received 2 donations that were over $250, and we're super grateful. The first one was from Donna Morello for $1,000 to Main Street. And the second one was June 3rd from New Brighton Home and School Club to contribute to their boardwalk field trip for their end of the year field trips.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Donna Morello and BMS Home and School Club.
Yes, we're always super grateful when we receive donations. So.
Scott, if somebody wanted to donate something during the summer or something like that, what should they do?
Contact Allison.
Yes, contact me.
I got some like a keyboard and some drum set,
Okay.
some other stuff. I can stuff. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll move to consider, I don't know that we are going to accept the donations.
Considering.
To accept the donations. Our district sites and programs with great gratitude.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. He already said yes. So. Any opposed? Okay. All right, now let's go back to the item that I pulled.
Page 13.
Thank you. And so I want to be transparent about why I pulled this. It's a reflection of, so there's language in here about the annual salary increases. And we've had a lot of conversations this year about how do we approach salary increases? How can we make them more equitable? And I would like us to consider some language that's a little bit more, gives the board a little bit more discretion than sort of automatically applying a standard percentage to a whole group of people. It's language that in all transparency doesn't affect this year because we've already agreed to the increases for this group. So it's really a way of reflecting some of the conversations we've had, some of the commitments that we've made to ourselves and the community that we're going to be looking at equitable compensation approaches this year. So it's my suggestion is that we adjust the language slightly on that paragraph that starts the annual salary shall be increased annually for the term of the agreement by the same percentage granted to something like by percentage as, you know, determined by the board after negotiations are completed, something like that.
Which one did you bring forward again? For
Page 13.
It's page, it was 4C, I think. It's the, yeah. That's why I wanted us to discuss that a little bit further.
I'd like to make a couple comments when it's the right time. I want to have the board discuss first.
I think that reflects what we've been talking about. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what we started talking about, so this is maybe the follow-through moment. So I appreciate that you pulled this, and I appreciate we're talking about this, and yeah, that kind of language would still allow us to do that full percent, but it would we'd get to have that conversation that we didn't get to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because some of the things that we have talked about are looking at, you know, what are the pay scales for the similar jobs across at other districts in the county, and how can we try and get closer to normalizing those? So if there are roles at different salary levels relative to their peer, then maybe we want there to be some different percentages. You know, there could be other things that we look to do. So some language I had written down by a percentage or amount determined by the board after concluding negotiations with SCA or CSCA.
I think it's, I just like, I'm gonna acknowledge that it's hard to talk about, and as human beings, this is a difficult moment, and in no way does it reflect in any way on how we feel about the value of the work, the incredible work that's done. I do feel a responsibility for us to look at all of our contracts and think about our intentions as we've been doing. And I want us to have, I want our staff to have security and support, and know that they are valued and have that extra, that's what a contract, part of what a contract does. You're not just an at-will, you've got the security of knowing you have a very difficult position and you're, working above and beyond the number of days that it says on the calendar. So the security and the protection for the staff, but also the flexibility for us to follow through with what we have talked about, and not having things be locked down in the same way. So I am definitely open to talking about the language. I don't have anything else in this moment. I mean, I'd love to hear thoughts when you're ready.
And just wanted to acknowledge that it's the timing's really uncomfortable. It would be great if we could have talked about this before we're actually looking to approve something, where we had time to sit with it and talk it out and do our research. So we just have been talking about this idea, and now the next meeting is a contract. So it feels maybe a little difficult. Just want to put that out there.
So you're saying that the timing was not well thought out? And I apologize for that. if
No,
that's what
the
you're saying.
timing is decided because the contract ends. Like, it's just the nature of our work.
Okay.
I guess it's a little bit what Amanda said.
I'm just trying to take in the constructive credit. It felt like some constructive criticism, so I wanted to take that in and learn from it.
I heard.
I don't think you did this to us. I think
Okay.
this is the timing of the contract ending, and we
Okay,
have to
thank you for
approve it.
clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the other piece I would add to that is consent items. These have been consent agenda items for a while, and usually there's not that kind of lead into consent agenda items. And to the point that I appreciate you that you pointed this out, Ariel, is that this was for 26-27, and based on previous action of the board for the unrepresented group, those same increases as our other bargaining units received were already locked in. So I didn't see it as a change. I saw it as 26-27 had already been spoken for. And so just to kind of think through that about the timing of it. My first point would just be, and again, as respectfully as possible, I disagree and don't recommend moving away from the Me Too construct. I think it protects all sides. I think it allows our administrative staff, who you all acknowledged, I'm not trying to play good guy, bad guy here, you've all acknowledged how hardworking they are and how much you value them. But I think it gives them a fiscal level of comfort to know that when times are tough and nobody else is getting a raise, and that's what happens with their group. And when there is money or circumstances dictate that a raise is given to everybody else, that they get it. It doesn't put them in a position, either our assistant superintendents or any other management group, to basically be in a position to try to negotiate on their own year by year. I think that's why the Me Too construct has worked for so many districts for so long, is it protects both sides. Under this construct, we're never going to have assistant superintendents come in and saying, I think I deserve a 10% raise. I took on this much this year. And it's like, no, there's a commonality that when there's money, then that kind of raises everybody up a little bit. So I just feel the need to say that. I know I've said it before, so I won't belabor it anymore. And then the other thing I would say is, rather than changing it now, it feels a little bit out of order for me, because we heard you loud and clear about the comparisons. Like, you want to make sure that our principals aren't at the top of Santa Cruz County pay scale and our teachers are at the bottom. I get that fully, and we've already delved into that. We're working with the COE on that. And so it would seem to me a more reasonable order of operations to have those comparisons first before changing any language in anybody's contract. Thanks for letting me have my time to comment on that.
So I'm kind of lost here. So I don't think, Me Too is actually mentioned in the contract. It's just like,
There is a clause that is essentially Me Too.
Is it state Me Too?
No, but what Ariel pointed out.
By the same percentage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I took. So What do you want to do? I'm lost. You don't want, you want to take away the Me Too and then just
I'm,
the salary?
no, I'm proposing that the language be broader than the specific language that says by the same percentage to something like by a percentage determined by the board, so that it gives more flexibility to say, okay, we're going to give everyone the same $5,000 as opposed to percentages, or this role is farther away from the mean, so we're going to give them a little bit higher percentage, or whatever whatever it comes out to be that we might want to adjust, which we don't know what it is, how we might want to adjust it. We've just talked a lot about equitable compensation increases, so I'm proposing language that provides more flexibility going forward
Flexibility for the board?
for the board to determine increases, the salary increases.
And is that our job? We
As-
approve, but it's not our job to set salary increases.
We approve all.
We approve it, but we're not here going, okay, you get 5%, and you over there get 7%. That's not our job. Our job is for it to come forward, and then we approve it, and if it's something that is not agreed upon on, we're not the ones who are gonna set, we don't set the pay scale.
We don't set the pay scale, but we do have a voice in what
Sure,
the
sure.
increases are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we are the only voice, but it's instead of the contract saying this is a done deal, this is what the increase is, it gives room to tailor it based on circumstances that we might choose to use in the future for setting salary increases.
I think the flexibility is a benefit, especially as we're learning more about where our district stands in the county. I think flexibility is always a good thing.
I do too, but I really hadn't thought through as much this idea that, you know, but the way that it protects all sides, and I want to make sure we find a way to address that.
Mhm.
You know, that it also provides security, or, you know, or a sense of clarity and understanding to folks who are negotiating other contracts. So CSEA and SEA, right? They're understanding things will be the same, and there's not gonna be some disproportionate thing where management gets this and I get this.
So what we're doing today, right now,
Yes.
is literally just saying yes or no on this, and then if for whatever reason, so I understand how this would work. Like, we would say, we do not approve that, and then we would bring it back as a discussion item to go over the language. Is that what you're?
Well, my concern is I think we need to approve contracts tonight, because the
Yeah.
contracts are
Well,
July 1. And
yeah,
so
July
I'm
1.
concerned, I'm a little concerned now, like thinking this through a little more. Like, I'm a little
Yeah.
concerned with being able to find the right language. Like,
No, it does have to be approved.
right, like I don't want us to just like kind of come up with something. I appreciate the idea, like this is for next year. We're gonna have a lot more information, like if we were in a different spot, if it were a month earlier, I'm just a little worried about this board trying to kind of come up with the right language that covers everything. I'm not saying I'm against it entirely, I've got some new ideas cooking in here.
Just it's kind of always the nature of our work. We're always that we have open meetings, like we have to say the uncomfortable things out in public. We decide things together in the moment. But we are looking into this, and this is for the next year. So just this gives us a chance to actually consider this idea. Otherwise, we don't consider it for the next till 27, till July of 27.
Right, but Scott said. It's already done, like we already know what the increase is for the term of this contract, for the 1 year term of this contract, it's already
Is it,
done.
it's the COLA, right?
Yeah.
That's what,
It's 2 years, right?
Yeah. Well, it was 2 years, including this past year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it's the
so
COLA,
it's the COLA. That's what we're talking about.
yeah, but
It's the, yeah, it's the 26-27 agreement, which was the COLA, which was 2.41 at the time. I don't know
But
where it
it's
is
the-
now. It's that.
A question, if I may, would just be, can you tell me more about the flexibility that removing that language would give, given that it's a 1 year contract?
So to me, it's a few things. It's saying, it's acknowledging that this is the direction that we're going. So it's moving away from language that prescribes something when we have reflected and feel that we don't want to have that prescriptive language, right? So it's starting to move in that direction. It's almost we almost don't need to find the perfect language because the increase is already in place for 26-27. So this is almost laying the foundation for, this is the direction that we want to go in. And there may be additional revisions in the future. But it feels off for us to have had all these conversations and then approve a contract with the same kind of language that we are interested in moving away from. So I recognize that it doesn't actually have a bearing on 26 and 27, but we're saying we want to start moving in a different direction.
Thanks for explaining that. I understand the direction part. I guess I'm wondering, and a struggle that I'm having, and I'm not a voting member, but just trying to engage in the conversation is a contract, which is like a technical document. Is that the place like to reflect direction going forward? Because for me, the comparison reports that were asked for that we'll present to you were for like, what are we going to do starting in 27-28, which is different than a technical contract for 26-27. So it just doesn't seem, in my opinion, it doesn't seem a contract is the right place to project direction and reflection. But I know we can agree to disagree on that.
Well, I mean, in some ways you could say because this year is decided, we could take that paragraph out entirely. It has no bearing on this year. So for us to retain language that we know we want to change.
Why do we know we want to change it when we haven't seen the comparison reports?
Because as a board, we have talked consistently about wanting to find new equitable ways of approaching compensation. And a Me Too for every single level is perhaps not what we feel is an equitable way of doing compensation.
Thanks for explaining that. My understanding was a little bit different. So when I had been under the understanding that when we bring these comparison reports, that if, let's just say, I'm trying to think of a position besides principal, our technology coordinator was paid #1 in the county, and our teachers were 7 or 8 or 9, then we're going to want to look at all of that and say, well, no, we want more alignment. But I had thought that if it comes back and says, well, like in most places, assistant superintendents, directors, coordinators in SoCal are at about the same place in the 10 counties as teachers, then it would be considered to maintain the Me Too. And so until we have that data that the county office is helping us put together, I don't know why it's of a timely nature to remove it here.
I think there are things that we might want to look at other than just that comparison.
Okay.
So I think it'd be interesting to look at having everyone get the same dollar amount, not a percentage of their salary, but every single person gets $5,000, like, or something.
Are you talking about everybody in the district?
No, I'm talking about the individuals that we have the ability to management that
Okay.
we don't have the ability to say for SCA or CSCA. It's just there's multiple ideas that we've talked about. We've only just, begun to actually look into some, we haven't really even started. We decided that we were going to do the Me Too for this year. We made a commitment that we were going to look at equitable ways of compensation. And there's two that we've talked about. One is the comparison to the county roles, and another is moving away from a percentage to something else that might, right? There could even be a third or a fourth way. So that's the impetus behind wanting to adjust this language so that we are not leaving things in that we have expressed a desire and a commitment to want to adjust.
My last question, I promise.
It's okay.
Well, a two-part question is, depending on the data that we bring you and looking at all different options, will Me Too still be considered an option?
It's considered with me.
Okay.
Speaking for me, yeah.
And
I think everybody gets 5%, everybody gets 5%. Kind of not not a punishment, because management is making way more than our educators. That's the way it is. And then compared to other districts in the county, that's how we retain quality employees too. And they stick around as well too. So I don't think it's fair that everybody gets 5% and then they get $5,000. They get $5,000 for the year.
Yeah, I'm with Ted. I'm open to Me Too. After seeing the data, I wouldn't want our district to be the one outlier in the whole county that compensates in a way that potential candidates for management positions would look and say, this is not where I want to be. So I wouldn't want us to be like so far out there and radical that it somehow impacts the talent that we can attract. I'm not, I don't have the data yet. Like, I don't know, but I that's kind of where I am. If all of the information that we get and all the different ways that we look at things, all the different ways, and thinking again about like being equitable and fair, if it then comes to a point where it really looks like this is not gonna be a place that we're gonna be able to get people to come and be a principal in this district, like I would have concerns there. So I'm open. This is gonna be it's gonna be a robust conversation over the next year.
And from my perspective, I agree with all of you. I definitely agree with both of you and you too. I think that part of the flexibility that we were talking about that Callie brought up is the ability to go to the Me Too. You know what I mean? So I would not count that out by any stretch of the imagination. I do agree wholeheartedly with Ariel too. I believe that gives us a better place to start and end a conversation, and just to have a conversation about it. And it could very well end up with Me Too. I think that is going to play a lot, but I do agree with the change of language in the contract. I don't know if that's too specific or not, but I think that gives us the ability to explore all the options.
And my last part to the second part question, and then I'll be quiet, is, when we do look at that data, it would make sense if something's out of whack, to put it in very non-technical terms. And we had certain, in comparison with the other districts in the county, we had certain positions that were top of the scale, and, our teachers are not, or our classified staff is not. I'll tell you now, like, I don't have the data sitting here. It's not the case. I'm gonna tell you that now, like, having recruiting people to these positions. I know that that's not the case, but I love that this board wants to see the data, not just a narrative on it. So we will produce that. But then it kind of also comes into question, of what if we see that our administrators are actually lower in that comparison of the 10 districts than our teachers, right? And that's, to me, where like it gets to be a very, not that we're afraid of complex issues, but sometimes there's a buffer and a guardrail against complex issues. And that's where Me Too has been instituted historically, to say that, right? To say, like, it's not going to get out of whack because everybody's going to get the same. And it won't be, I've always taken just the Me Too. Many superintendents negotiate regularly for their own raise, right? And so for me, it's always been a fair deal. I signed a contract 10 years ago for a certain amount. Years where we don't have anything, we don't have anything. I won't ask for any more. Years where we do, okay, then I'll get what everybody else gets. Just as an example, recently Live Oak hired a new superintendent. I think it was about the 5th one in the last 10 years, and they flew it at $225,000. And it was a brand new superintendent experience, and I make $232,000, right? And so after 14 years and 10 years in this district, and I'm not doing this for me. I'm just like, those are numbers I know in my head, obviously. So I don't think we're going to find we're out of whack in the way that maybe is wondering, is like our administrators are getting a Cadillac deal and the rest of our staff are not. We're not going to find that. There might be some position I'm not thinking of that's in the middle of the pack versus the bottom of the pack. But I guess my point is, what if we did find it was actually the opposite is true? Are we going to make an adjustment that way for our management team? Or do we trust that the Me Too keeps things in a pretty consistent way? So I said, that's all I said. So that's all I'll say.
Basically, right now, we're discussing for the next contract is to discuss the Me Too. But this is going to be approved as is.
I think the two options on the table are to approve it as is or to approve it with a language adjustment.
Correct.
But there hasn't been a motion either way yet, just an idea.
Thank you. I don't know why that would make a difference.
I want to clarify one thing about what you just said.
Okay.
What I'm interested in seeing in terms of data is not just what are our principals and management paid relative to the county, relative to where our teachers are. I'm interested in seeing what are CBOs paid across the county. Is our CBO like 20% off of the rest of the county? And so therefore the CBO's raise should be X, and the assistant superintendent of education is only 10% off of the norms of the county. So that raise should be Y. That's why I'm interested in having there be flexibility, is that regardless of kind of the teacher's scale, even looking at the individual scale of the management, are there things that we might tailor for individuals based on where their role sits relative to the county? That's one of the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I think
the other is this broader issue of equity and trying to close the gap between our lowest paid people and our highest paid people, and maybe in, moving away from just every single person getting the same percentage, because then there's, there is a disparity in what people's actual dollar increases. I would like to have the flexibility to investigate that and see what that looks like. So it's kind of those two things, which are what is driving my interest in moving away from very prescriptive language.
I thought the only that I wasn't gonna say anymore, but I'll respond to that if that's okay. I think we're saying on the first part, I think we're saying close to the same thing. Although I don't know. Like when I think about it in order, I mean, we're lucky in that we only have 10 districts, right? So it kind of becomes real easy math. But if I'm hearing you right, where we're different is I'm looking at each group ought to be in the same range, right? Like you shouldn't have the highest paid. Think of a different position. CNS director.
Mhm.
And everybody else in the district is kind of towards the bottom. And we usually are. We're usually around with Scotts Valley, Pacific, you know, and whatever job classification, including teachers. But you're saying forget where teachers fall, forget where custodians fall. Just if our when we had a director of student services before that job was combined, if our let's just for a generic position,
Mhm.
that position, you're like looking at that in isolation to say, oh wow, they're being paid 20% more than anybody else in the county. Am I following that right? I'm probably going to paraphrase for
I would be interested in, okay, director of student services, the median salary for director of student services in the county
okay.
is 100.
Yeah.
Our director makes 95.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to start working towards getting to that median. Our director of photocopying, right? Like the median in the county is 75 and ours makes 50. Well, we
Okay.
want to focus, we want to have that director of photocopying, have them increase a little bit more so they get closer to the median. It's that. And that's just one very like
Yeah.
granular view of it.
Yeah.
That it's more than just at a macro level, where are we falling? It's actually looking at like some of the positions, which is why having a straight everyone gets the same percentage doesn't help us if there are disparities in some of the individual positions.
Question though, I mean, right, sorry.
It's okay.
A follow-up, question on that, just if we're talking about looking at the salary schedule for a position and possibly like realizing, gosh, something's really out of whack on our salary schedule. The
Mhm.
director of fun,
Mhm.
starts at 50 and in every other district, they start at 65. I don't know that the Me Too is the place where you correct that. Don't you correct that through an action where you're doing something to the salary schedule?
I think it's
No?
super clarifying the conversation, right? Like if something were really, if we found something like that, I think it would be a discussion on that salary schedule to try to rectify it, get it back in line. And then the Me Too would do its job.
So for me, the teachers and the classified salary is a very important piece of this. The reason they have their salary, their increased salary comes from the Me Too, and it gets baked into their salary. So the way that they can stay in our district, they can, be able to survive in Santa Cruz is through that Me Too raise that they negotiate every year. And then, so, yeah.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? When you say Me Too in that context?
Well,
you're
sorry.
saying-
Usually the SEA negotiates a number, and then to be equitable and fair, we give that same number to CSEA.
Every once in a while it could work in the
Right.
opposite order, but your point is
Right.
well taken, yeah.
But they also move up from tenure and education. So
Right.
it's not just through the Me Too that they get their raise. The longer they stay in the district, the more money they make. And if they get a master's degree or a doctorate, they make even more.
Stepping call, yep, of course. Yeah.
But maybe that percent that they negotiate increases the whole salary. So where SEA and classified are is kind of the reason why we talk about the Me Too. We give that to the confidentials because we give that to the other groups. So where those two groups fall in the county, to me, really says what that percentage, that's why we do it. Because we already know that those two groups are on the low end of the county. So those percentages that we negotiate is really us trying to retain them, trying to compensate them for their work. That's part of this discussion too. And then to try to be equitable, we give that same number to the third group, the confidential. That's right.
And I would yes, and I would just add to recruit and retain them.
Yeah, so I think the comparison of what, like Ariel is saying, comparison of those positions is important, but also seeing where the first two groups are in relation to the county salaries.
Yes, it's both. Both of it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting that we change the language, and in order to do that, we'd make a motion to say, I would approve this with the change in language from whatever the Me Too wording happens to be to at the discretion of the board or something along those lines. Which gives us the same thing, the capability to still follow through on all of the Me Too agreements and anything else that we can figure out. So it's not taking away anything, it's just, okay.
So that almost seems like it would be two separate motions there, because if you want to change the language in the contract, and then we're going to approve that they receive a raise, I don't agree with what's in that paragraph. So if I vote no, am I voting against them getting a raise?
We're not voting on anyone getting a raise.
Or, okay.
No.
We've
yeah,
already voted on them getting a raise.
They're already getting the raise.
right. Okay, gotcha.
The only thing we'd be voting
Sorry,
on
mine went somewhere else. Okay,
is the contract language.
okay,
And setting a standard for the future.
Yes.
Copy that.
okay. Never mind.
No, thank you for the clarifying question.
So should we nail down the language?
Would that be on the contract for 27-28 versus the 26-27 contract though?
So in many ways, it's moot language because we've already decided on. We've already approved the contract. So what it is doing is we're saying now at this moment, this is language we want to change.
But everything that we've done stays in place.
Everything we've done stays in place. So. It's saying, we're doing it now because we've talked about this is what we want to do. So we're starting it now. We're not going to wait until next year and then maybe we forget about it or something, right? It's saying this is something we said we want to do, so we're doing it now. The reality is it doesn't have any impact on 26, 27. What?
No. I'm really having a hard time with it. Yeah, this is a difficult one, and I think it clearly has an impact on the two people whose contract it is. So words matter, and I think we have to acknowledge that. And I appreciate our intention also, because I think we're all coming from a place of really, really conscientiously caring about equity. And so I will figure out how I'm gonna vote on whatever the motions are, and that's okay. But it's it's just want to acknowledge there's an impact beyond what it means in terms of the dollars right, because the dollars for next year, that part's already Yeah, this,
Mm.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever words
Right,
get
right.
changed in the contract isn't gonna change
Yeah.
dollars.
Right, and if it's to like project intentions, and honor the past discussion. I guess it feels like by taking it out of 26, 27, and from my perspective, it's predetermining that Me Too is the wrong construct. And I don't think that's what the board has asked. They just asked, is it the right construct? Maybe we present you all the data. And you go, no, it's actually working. Everybody's kind of where they should be. Nobody's too far from the mean. It seems like taking it out now, even though either way, as Ariel said, it's a moot point technically, it seems to be virtue signaling like we're getting rid of Me Too, regardless of what data we see.
Scott, in your opinion, is there a more appropriate time or meeting to do this for so 26, 27 is done.
Mhm.
So when would this next discussion be for the 27, 28?
I would anticipate we have data to share with you within, the first few months of the school year. We'll try to undersell and over deliver and say October, where we can share that data with you. And then I don't, from then, I think it would be a discussion item on reflecting on the data. And then, at a future meeting, deciding on where to go with that.
So since this has already been decided for this year, could the language be the annual salary increase has already been determined based on the agreement and will be the COLA, like.
I guess I'm just struggling with it. If we all agree it's a moot point, why is it so important to take it out?
We faced such big things in terms of budgets. We talked about school closure. We had a very difficult negotiations. Our budget is like, it's just really, been a difficult year. So to me, that simple language just feels like we're responding to the community. We are really taking our budget seriously. And it is already determined, so it doesn't. And we are going to be looking into it. So I don't know. Changing it even in that way seems like a good idea.
Write it out and make a motion. If we want to, I mean, you get an idea how we all feel and vote on it. And
I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the assistant superintendent's contracts as is. And someone can either second that.
I'll second that.
And then if someone wants to propose a different motion, that can happen. But I think we're probably at the point where we're ready to, I could be wrong. This is like that moment where I kind of came in feeling one way and the discussion actually to me has been super helpful.
Mhm.
And so I'm not at a point of being comfortable changing the language right now. That's me. That we all get our own vote and our own opinion.
So are you looking for an amendment to the motion in the second?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
It is okay to think and take our pauses.
Did you want to discuss more, Ariel?
Well, so where we are right now is we have a motion on the table, so there. If someone has a different amendment to that motion, they can raise it.
Oh, we don't have to vote on it as is, the motion that's been put on the table that was seconded.
Make a friendly amendment. Right, and then.
That's how I thought it worked.
Yeah.
I got things moving.
Mhm, mhm.
I thought someone might have an amendment to offer, but I mean,
And I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
I have an amendment, I
Yeah.
don't know if I have an amendment.
do you want to take a recess or do you want to discuss or do you want to just think more?
Wait, you have an amendment?
I don't know, no, I'm thinking,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
But so procedurally, at some point, somebody could make an amended motion to yours.
That's how I thought it worked.
Yeah.
Okay, I think so, okay.
That's what I thought.
Fine.
Yeah.
Call the attorney.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's, I know I can be exceptionally cautious about language in contracts and so that's why I'm just getting a little
Mhm.
nervous about changing something and it feels like we have a pretty clear understanding that this is something that we would like to look at and be open to changing with more information. This is just my perspective. I'm not trying to, I don't know how to say it without being like, I'm trying to persuade anyone to feel the same way that I do. It's fine for us to have different thoughts on this and it's been a really good, helpful conversation. I really see multiple perspectives here, but I'm leaning towards caution and honestly what feels respectful in this moment to me.
I don't want to make this is to me a matter of respect.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this has nothing to do with not saying, disrespecting anybody or not feeling anybody is worthy or anything else to me. So that's just, I disagree with that, in terms of.
I think I meant by process. I wasn't talking about like personal respect.
Okay,
Respect
okay.
of like of a process with like thorough like integrity of like time. But
That is what I was saying, though, that this, these things are rushed and they are open to the public.
yeah,
They are.
yeah.
I know I've expressed before that I think the language needed changed. So I think that's the way I thought that these conversations were headed. And honestly, I still think it does. You know, I believe we can still do the right thing and make up Me Too or anything else. This just gives us the flexibility to be equitable and still accomplish that goal of making sure everybody gets what's fair and deserved.
The number that's listed here, is this the number, you know, the annual salary shall be X in accordance with, is that number, does that include the 2 point, whatever the number is?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
It already includes it.
Yes.
So the reality is, there is no further increase.
That
To this.
we're not planning to negotiate for 26, 27.
Right, so one could argue that we don't need this paragraph at all in this annual contract, in this particular contract.
I think that for me, it goes back to how you called it, like it's technically it's a moot point. Just think in terms of reflecting where we're going with Me Too. It's not a moot point. To me, it would be saying, we're definitely moving away from Me Too. We're starting to change things now versus we're gonna wait to see what the data tells us.
And to me, it almost feels the opposite. Leaving it in is a reflection of saying you're staying with Me Too.
I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of taking it completely out,
Tell me
because I
more
think,
about
because
one
I think it's taking that something. So when we first started talking, you mentioned something around like shall be increased annually for the term of the agreement by the same percentage or an amount determined by the board after concluding negotiations or something like that, right? The idea of removing that entirely, I understand that like we are looking at a snapshot of a contract for 1 year. The contract language carries over from year to year to year. It's like a template. So I think that really removes like a built-in protection that's in the superintendent's contract language, like that just removing it entirely feels. Oh, I don't know how to say it, like.
Yeah, I think for the same reason though of exactly what you just said, having something built in that carries over is the reason why I would like it adjusted, because it lays the precedent for this is the template and we keep rolling it over. And
But having some kind of language in it that's adjusted makes more sense to me than not having anything about opportunity to increase. Right? I mean, we're talking
either way, what we're saying is that we have to revisit this language, right?
Yes.
And so the question is, do we revisit it starting with no change right now, which puts the onus on ensuring that we adjust it, or do we make some adjustment either by making the language, some flexibility, or by taking it out entirely, which totally necessitates us revisiting it because it's not there.
But what if, but what if we all turn into like, the kind of people suddenly who like don't want to adjust it and add something? I think to me that just doesn't feel like our intentions. Like we do want people in these positions to have some kind of opportunity for
Absolutely.
growth. That hopefully is going to be
100%.
something.
Absolutely.
Something. So removing it entirely is like that is absence. That is zero. That concerns me. Like if the people want to propose something that has some flexibility, I really understand that. But I'm gonna, yeah. And also feels really unequal based on superintendent contract language. To me.
How so?
Because there is similar-ish language in that contract. So the idea of pulling any language about future compensation, future salary increases from these doesn't.
Are you talking about pulling it? Just pulling?
That's what I
Not
thought we were
talking
talking
about
about, like removing that paragraph entirely.
That was my last idea, given the fact that this is the 26-27, then the raise is already reflected in the dollar listed. To me, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
To me, it was in the moment, it was a seemingly straightforward way to approach the issue at hand by neither adjusting language nor not adjusting language, but basically saying, as this contract stands at this moment, it reflects what the intention is for this year already. So ergo, we could take out those two sentences and there would be no material difference in this year's contract, salary, any of that. And we need to revisit all of this year. So it gives us the opportunity to not have to worry about the nuances of revised language, but also gives some of us that comfort that we've taken the steps to not just like roll things over that we're trying to make adjustments to.
Making sure. Float an idea.
We'll make an amended motion that we strike those two sentences. The annual salary shall be increased from the agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, so now we have two motions on the table.
No, I have an amended motion.
Oh, it's an amended
But
motion.
doesn't she have to rescind her motion or the amended motion?
I honestly don't know. I thought it was just now there's an amended motion on the table.
I'm fine with voting on the amended.
Okay,
That's. I don't need to go through a bunch of like procedural.
thank you.
Oops, I think we're all.
We're on that, please. Okay.
I would ask you to at least consider maybe not taking out the second sentence. I feel really unsure and
Oh,
clear about legalities around this, but this is not my area of expertise, but this the second sentence is a change in salary should not constitute the creation of a new contract nor extend the termination date of this agreement. That seems like that's important language.
Boilerplate.
So the first sentence. The amended motion is to remove that first sentence, but retain a change in salary shall not constitute the creation.
So I'll second that.
Vote.
Okay to call for a vote.
All right. It's just an action item, not a resolution. So all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Me,
I'm
no,
opposed.
You're opposed.
Yeah. I mean, nay.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So passes with the amendment 3-2.
Yes. I think that we now extra need to be committed to this topic of reviewing this, right? So it's, I don't know, maybe our next, in August when we reconvene about agendas, we can talk about sort of what the next steps are on that so that we can be get ahead of it, right? I'd like us to do as much as we can in the first few months of the year so that we're not kind of scrambling things out at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, and so people know. I mean, we're not trying to yank stuff or, shake it up. We're trying to see what's.
There's a lot of work that's
There's
done.
a lot,
to be done.
yeah,
We're not done.
yeah, it's just a start.
For clarification, does this mean that the two of us now have to negotiate for increases?
No, it means that there is language that we need to address, that we need to put in place.
I don't know that there's any reason that if we're getting information in the fall, as we're talking about, is it possible to bring the contracts back sooner than June? To amend,
Sure.
if
Yeah.
that's something that's palatable.
No, first.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah,
that.
I
think
really
that
hate
sounds
the
great.
idea of.
Yeah, I don't want to keep that to
until
the
we
end.
I would love that we give ourselves more time
That's what I
to
was.
do some of these. Yeah. Is there any additional correspondence?
We still have one other I
We
know
do?
that was pulled, right?
Oh, is it?
No,
That was
Okay,
that was
good.
just a
Okay.
question. That
Cool.
was it. Any additional future agenda items? All right, adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.